Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag-off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Rivers collide where the laughs always flow. Black and gold thunder everywhere they go. The madcap kings breaking every mold. With two dumb Yinzers, the stories don't get old. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 792 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. I want to say to everybody this morning, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Yeah, glad to be back, everybody. You know what? I got to be honest with you, for a good reason. It's Pittsburgh Steelers football season, guys. And, we bitch here in Western Pennsylvania a lot. It's probably the weather. I don't know what it's all about. But you know what? One thing that we bitch a lot about is our football team. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know if I've ever seen a team as well put together as the one that we have right now. We'll get more into that as the show goes on. I do want to say good morning to Joseph Krast on the board. I want to say good morning to Cody on the board. Good morning, guys. Welcome to the show. Always great to see you guys on the board. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back. Guys, we got a lot of things we got to talk about today. Since we left, Mike, there was some... I don't know if you want to call them rumors, but I guess rumors unrooted. We found out a little bit of scoop from some inside sources that might be bringing a new football player to the team, Mike. Somebody that could be a pretty big playmaker, if you will. We'll get more into that. Also, is Cam Hayward, is his situation any closer to getting complete, getting fixed, getting resolved? You know what else, Mike? I have a question about the Cam Hayward situation. And I'll get to that in just a minute as well. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome back. Great to see everybody. We are just 2 days away from the Steelers playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Saturday night here at Acrisure Stadium. The Buccaneers were in town yesterday, practicing in Pittsburgh. Today, they are here for a joint practice this afternoon with the Steelers. Mike Tomlin will speak this afternoon. And then we only got 2 days, guys. It's going to be Tampa Bay Saturday night, 7 o'clock. And then Carolina next week, and then a week off, and then we get ready for the Jets. So, guys, 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks, we are going to be heading into the regular season. It's going to get here really quick. Mike, as we were counting down the days for training camp to get here, and here we are, we're just a couple weeks away from the regular season. Oh, that mic again of yours. I got to come down here and find out what the hell is going on. If it's not the mic, it's the headphones. If it's not the headphones, it's your head. I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on, man. I'm going to continue to talk here for a couple minutes while Mike gets that worked on. But, yeah, a lot of things going on, guys. Again, we find some scoop out yesterday that it was, again, on the show yesterday, we were wondering if this move was going to happen. Of course, the Steelers, we know, are in the market for a wide receiver. But, again, we'll get more into that just momentarily. You fixed, Mike?
I hope so.
Yeah, you're good.
My headset's clicking and crackling. My microphone doesn't want to work. I'm ready to throw everything through the monitor, brother.
Do we need to get you a new headphones?
I need something, brother.
Because
Vanilla Thunder is ready to storm out of here.
Listen, Paleface, I always see this thing popping out on you here, and I don't understand how that falls out. So don't do it, for F's sake. Come on, don't. You're gonna piss around and mess it up. But I don't know why that falls out like that. It's like it's what is that?
I don't know. I don't know. It's falling out like my hair follicles.
Listen, we'll get you new headphones. All right, just relax. Let's get into it, Mike. So the Steelers, some speculation on something to come in the next 10 to 12 days, said by a reliable source, somewhat, and we'll get into that in just a second. And you're going in and out again. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to grab Cody's message here while you are working on that. Cody says, if we get Odell Beckham Jr., I'm going to be pissed. We let GP go because what's the difference in the drama they bring to the team? That's a good point, Cody. It's a really good point, actually, considering why it was said that we let GP go. And, of course, the player that OBJ has been in his career, that's a very good question. But, again, guys, we have a lot of things we're going to get into today. But I just want to start by saying this. Pinch me. Could you pinch me, somebody? Because we've never had a team as well built as this. And I know we haven't played any meaningful games, and we're good on paper, blah blah blah. But look at the way that this team's been constructed. Excuse me. We basically have the best secondary that the Steelers secondary has ever had in my knowledgeable life. Maybe as a young kid in the 70s when I was missing Super Bowls because I was shitting myself. They might have been really good. But I'm going to be honest, guys, as far as a team put together and a secondary put together, on top of having a full linebacker room that you got to love, you got to like the way this team was put together overall. Again, Omar Khan has done something that I didn't even know was possible. I mean, this is Madden type shit, in my opinion. And this is something that I would have given NBA teams shit about over the years because LeBron wanted to stack his team to win a championship. But I got to be honest with you. This might be the best put together team the Pittsburgh Steelers had in a long, long time. I mean, you could go back to the 70s and look at those teams from top to bottom. But, guys, pinch me, would you? Because, again, as much as we bitch, as much as we complain, as much as we find things to bitch about, this is a pretty impressively put together team. Again, whether they can come out and do what we want them to do and what they should be expected to do once you have that much talent, that's yet to be seen. But for somebody to put a team together here in Pittsburgh where they load the defensive backfield, again, this has got to be the best secondary that I've seen in my life. It really is.
Yeah,
it's to the Rod Woods and Carnell Lake and Darnell Perry, but you look, or Darren Perry, I'm sorry, but you look at what they got, Mike. They brought in Jalen Ramsey, again, 10 years in the league, but I'm going to give you some interesting scoop on that in just a minute. Darius Slay, who just won a Super Bowl with Philadelphia. This guy's no slouch either. And then our young Joey Porter Jr., who was, is the cornerstone of the secondary. You lose Micah Fitzpatrick, and then you bring in a Juan Thornhill, who really looks like he wants to prove himself. Mike, I got to be honest with you. That stick we seen last Saturday night, you had that with Brandon Eccles. You had that with Chucky Clark. You had that with seriously, the names go on and on. And what's the one thing that the Steelers never really do, Mike? They never pay attention to the secondary to this extent.
Yeah.
And as the league becomes more of a passing league every year, more passing, we've never really kept up in that sense. Now we're on top of our game. I got to be honest, as I said, pinch me, because this may be top to bottom one of the better teams, Mike, I've seen the Pittsburgh Steelers build in my lifetime. And if you disagree, find a team. We'll put it together and we'll match them neck to neck. But one thing before I do let you go, Mike, is this. With this team that we just built, what kind of pressure does that put on Coach Mike Tomlin moving forward? Because, again, when we had Bell, Ben, and Brown, you always hear, well, this team couldn't get it done. Mike Tomlin couldn't get it done with Bell, Ben, and Brown. You give them all these weapons and all these names. What pressure does that put on Mike Tomlin to get something more obviously than a 500 season and a playoff appearance? This team actually has to accomplish something this year, Mike. And I think that puts the pressure on him, which puts the pressure on the team, which puts the pressure on the organization, Mike. I just got a good feeling about this team this year.
Yeah, so do I. And I like the way that this team was built, and they've been Omar Khan and Weedle have been rebuilding this team since they took over for Kevin Colbert, and they've done it rather quickly. They have not let this team tank like a lot of people saying they should. They should have let the team tank and get rid of everyone and rebuild. What they did, they saw that they had pieces in place, and they built around those pieces in place, and went out and drafted guys to fill in the holes that they needed. And then they know they need a quarterback, but what they're doing first, they're building the team first, and then going out and finding stopgaps and quarterbacks. Now it's looking like they might have struck, hopefully this year, lightning in the bottle with Aaron Rodgers. From all reports in camp and some video that I've seen, he got some zip on that ball.
And I got to tell you, Mike, from the guy, they didn't have a great season with the Jets last year, but he had some pretty damn good numbers. Almost 3,000 yards, right? How many touchdowns did he throw?
Like 28 touchdowns.
This is on a bad Jets team, Mike. Yeah. So, again, you have a decent team around them, a defense, some other things going on that we have that the Jets don't. Obviously, just a good franchise in general compared to what New York has up there. Those would lead me to think that there's no reason there should be a downfall in his play, Mike, unless he totally just loses it and doesn't become the player that he's been basically his whole career.
Yeah, and if he does, we got Mason Rudolph sitting there waiting in the wings, and yes, it was one preseason game, but you know what? I'm going to be excited for it. He showed me what I wanted to see out of him in that little preseason action that he saw last week against the number ones, going out there with a lot of number two skill position guys. Okay, we have options at the quarterback room, but like you said, though, this defense is one of the most complete defenses we've seen in a long time. Like someone said on the board when we had the Killer Bees, the defense was not what it once was in Pittsburgh. It was way overhyped. Now this defense is a damn good defense. You got playmakers at all three levels, and then you have a deep linebacking core, and then you have probably one of the best secondaries, if not let's call it a top 5 secondary in the NFL. So there's a lot going for this team. It probably does put pressure on Mike T, but it's also putting pressure on Omar Khan and Guido that, like, hey, you better hope the guys that you brought in paying out. It's putting pressure on the players themselves. Like, hey, we give a lot of you guys a lot of money. So guys who have been here and guys who we brought in. So you got to step up and perform too. And I don't want to say like they're running their mouths, but they're talking like, hey, we think we have something special here. So they're putting the pressure on themselves too. So that's what I like to see. That the Steelers, they're not doing it the Steeler way anymore. They're doing it the NFL way now. And it took a GM change for them to actually change.
My question is this: why the fact that I just didn't even think this was possible. Again, being a Steeler fan my whole life, being conservative, I assume the word in the board area, and we're gonna get to the board just a second, guys. I promise, Mike. But again, I didn't even think it was possible to do what we're doing. But now all of a sudden, Omar Khan is bringing in this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy, and you say, why doesn't everybody do this? Why isn't this something that we've done all along? So again, I'm not asking any questions at this point. I'm just saying pinch me, because this is one of the better put together teams that I've seen in my life. Again, the results still remain to be seen. We're going to find out what happens with this team moving forward, Mike. But in my life, going into a Steelers season, have you ever sat there and said, geez, oh man, we have a stacked secondary. Geez, oh man, from top to bottom in the linebacker room, we are stacked top to bottom. We have DK Metcalf. We have this going on. We have that going on. We have the best punt, one of the 3 best punters historically in the league. We got Chris Boswell. There's a lot of really good things about this team. And as I'm saying, Mike, as you have all those elements in place, you have to feel the pressure a little bit on Mike Tomlin. And then again, on as far as Omar Khan and them goes, beyond this point, there's not much that they can do. They did their job. They brought in the best possible people that they thought that they could bring in. And I got to be honest again, Mike, this is probably the best group of people in an off season that we've ever brought in my life. Yeah. We're bringing in Darius Slays and Jalen Ramsey and DK Metcalf, Jonnu Smith. Never in my life. You get maybe one big name a year as a Steeler fan from free agency, if that, because they are always from within the system. The fact that they're building their team like this is something new. Almost like I said, building a team on Madden to, getting the best players, all your favorite players, and putting them on one squad. That's the feel this has to me.
Yeah, and like you and I were talking off air before the show, like Omar Khan and Guido, they built this team without mortgaging the future.
Yes. Like
Jalen Ramsey, I think, is here for on a 3-year deal. Jonnu Smith's only here on a 2-year deal. Slay's on a 1-year deal. So it's not like, they're signing guys to these bloated contracts that can have ramifications for years down the line. Like, they know what they have. They have, like I said, a good foundation in place, and they accelerated the build. They went out. The opportunity arose to get these guys, so they went out and did it. They went out and got this team ready because they knew they were just a couple pieces away from being really competitive, because we saw it last year. Like, this was a competitive team up until the end when they kind of got their asses kicked, but they were still some of that kind of got their asses kicked. But in that Baltimore game, when Baltimore ran away with it, we were controlling the pace of that game up until the Russell Wilson fumble, and I think that totally sucked the sails or wind out of our sails. And the team kind of just collapsed at that moment. And they're like, okay, so we're going to get rid of him. We're going to get some other guys who cause problems. We're going to go and bring in other people to reinforce those spots and to reinforce other areas. And we're going to cut dead weight and bring in new people. So, hell yeah, let's go. And like Cody just said, we're not paying a quarterback for a long time here either. So we can build up these positions.
Let's get on the board, Mike. I don't want to keep anybody waiting any longer. And then as soon as we hit these messages on the board, Mike, I'm going to get to this scoop that everybody's waiting to talk about today. The next 10 to 12 days, these words are resonating in Western Pennsylvania. What we might see here in the next 10 to 12 days. We'll get to that in just a second. Let me get through these messages real quick, guys. Good morning, Cody. Cody says, if we get Odell Beckham Jr., I'm going to be pissed we let GP go, because what's the difference in the drama they bring to a team? It's a good question. Good morning, Richard. Richard on the board. Richard, always great to see you, sir. What's up, TOT, my man? Good to see you as well. What else we got here? Vegas says Madden comes out for everyone in 5 minutes.
That's right, it did. It just launched.
Tortilla says, no way we sign OBJ. This was my opinion till yesterday, but we'll get more into that here as we go. Vegas says, who was the most important number 39? Was it Fast Willie Parker or Minkah Fitzpatrick? I say Minkah Fitzpatrick. Mike says Fast Willie Parker. I just think overall, game for game, the guy made, for how many years he was here, all the way up until last year, maybe a little bit into the year before, he wasn't great. But you know what? Before that, he was a great safety. Willie wasn't a great running back. He had a nice run in the Super Bowl, obviously a 75-yard run to start the second half in Super Bowl 40. But besides for that, I think the overall production from both of the players while they were here, I give the edge to Minkah on that one. But I'm not taking anything away from Willie.
I don't think we win that Super Bowl without the record-breaking 75-yard run. So I'm going Fast Willie Parker.
Well, if you take 7 points away, we still win 14-10 in that Super Bowl. So we'll just take that and put it aside, Mike. Keep moving forward.
Take your facts elsewhere, brother.
Vegas. Well, the fact is, if you take his touchdown away, we still win. So I'm not going to argue that. Vegas says the Killer Bees defense was not that good. But the point I'm making on that, Vegas, was remember the shit that he caught by that team just not doing better than they did, because they had Ben, they had Brown, they had Bell. So that's kind of where I'm equating the two here, is the amount of talent that was brought in on this team. Will Tomlin just be under more pressure than usual to get it done, to get something done, I guess you could say. Tortilla says, I think Mike T has pressure to get postseason wins, but I don't think he gets fired. If not, I think we just don't resign him if we lose. I don't think he gets fired either. John says, good morning, John. John says the Steelers played way too conservative the past few years. Their reason was holes on the team. Now there are no excuses. They must stop playing the 90s philosophy and get with the 2025 program. I agree with you, John. You always have some kind of holes. Now we have a couple issues, but I don't think we have holes. And I'm going to say the left tackle is kind of where I'm leaning with that comment. Tortilla says, you guys see Stewart, the Bengals rookie tackled Burrow in practice, started a brawl. I did. All kind of fights I'm seeing in training camp so far this year, Mike, around the league. Cody Silva. Cody says, I know a lot of people don't like Mike Tomlin and no losing seasons, but it's crazy to me that people want to tank or be losses games. After that, I'd rather be mid-pack than be miserable to watch. Tortilla says, Steeler pride. We know our practice squad will be playing by week 7, so we never really spent big money. Let's see. Cody says $105 million in cap next year and still not paying a quarterback. That's what I'm saying. What they went out and did what they did, they constructed this team, and we still have we have all of our draft capital, Mike. We got money in the draft coming here in April. You know that, especially if we have a relatively good season. people are going to be really amped come draft time, Mike, and I think that they'll be very itching. They'll be itching to get whatever the problem was that didn't allow us to get it done.
Yeah,
I think this is going to build into something big, guys. I really do. Huge ass forever, always great seeing huge ass. Huge ass says pretty bad when Tomlin or Omar go this long with no wide receiver 2 plan, but at least we have a buttload of mediocre tight ends. Yay. Kenneth, my man, what's up? Kenneth on the board. Kenneth says Omar gets it. To win championships, you can't have backups as starters, and you must get starter quality backups to play players to sub. Mike, and even the depth on this team I like this year, because you're seeing a lot of depth being built through the draft and on the defensive line and YA Black. And you know, we have a lot of good things going on this football team right now, guys. Again, pinch me, because this is a lot better than I think a lot of people thought this offseason was going to be. This is a lot better than people thought things were going to be last year, as Russell Wilson and Justin Fields were wrapping up the season with 5 straight losses. Russell Wilson, of course, was the starting quarterback. But again, guys, this got to be way better than what you expected, finishing out last year with getting our asses beat in the playoffs. Sticky B, what you know about Sticky B? Sticky B says, I love me some Fast Willie. Still rock my Steelers 75th anniversary patch, 39 jersey every opening day. And I just want to say, Mike, I like Willie Parker a lot. I was just put on the spot where I had to choose one number 39. I didn't dislike Willie. I liked Willie a lot. I just thought the player himself, one guy was how many time All-Pro, Pro Bowler. Willie wasn't. I just think that he was more valuable. But again, that's debatable. Cody says, we already have OBJ, right? Robert Woods. OBJ played like 3 games last year, went for like 30 yards. I'd rather take Amari Cooper. That's going to be something that I do bring up to you, Mike. OBJ's availability over the past few years hasn't been great. Would this be, would this be a pickup that would excite you as a Steeler fan? I don't think, but there's other names we're going to get into, guys. Let's see. John says, I have found the Steelers to be miserable to watch for a while, regardless of the record. And Cody says, I can honestly agree with that, but I still wonder, or I still would rather win. Guys, lots of great comments to start the show today. Let's not waste any more time. Like, this is from the straight from the elephant's mouth, if you will. This that big meathead. This is from the Mark Caboli, of course. This was said by him yesterday on his podcast, guys. This Mark Caboli said that he would not be shocked. He would not be shocked if the Steelers had a wide receiver in the next 10 to 12 days. Now, what's interesting about this, Mike, is there's a specific timeline of it. And he would not be shocked. So he knows something. If it's even just rumors going on within the organization, he knows something that's going on, and and he decided to give us a little bit of that knowledge. I wouldn't imagine this is made up out of nowhere. Again, the numbers, it's a special timeline like he did with Aaron Rodgers. We'll have Aaron Rodgers sign in the next 7 to 10 days, and it was, weeks later that it happened. So there is credibility behind this big meathead's words sometimes, Mike, and I got to be honest. Let me read a little bit more to you. He says, I will not be shocked that the Steelers add a wide receiver within the next 10 to 12 days. When asked if it was Terry McLaurin, he says, you're in the ballpark, but you're in the wrong section. When it was asked, is it going to be OBJ? He said, close. And then when he was asked about Amari Cooper, he was silent, Mike. He did not give an answer. And then it goes on, when I'm reading here, it says, I think the mystery wide receiver could very well be Cooper, but I also think the dark horse in this could be another trade with Tyreek Hill. Whether you think this is a good idea, whether you don't, I got to be honest with you. Take what we have now, add Tyreek Hill to the mix. I'm feeling, if not anything, kind of starstruck from my team, but I'm feeling really good. Mike, what's the chances of, from all these people that you heard, what are your thoughts on this comment by that meathead?
So the 10 to 12 days, that's his in 2 weeks saying, when he just doesn't know a time frame but thinks something's going to happen. Last time he said 10 to 12 days was Aaron Rodgers, and took about 15 to 20. So this will put us right in before, probably like the week before practice, or a week before we start games. I don't think OBJ is going to be the guy. He hasn't done anything of relevance in a long time. It's been in and out of lineups due to injuries. So I think he's a non-starter right there. Tyreek Hill, that would be interesting, going back to the Miami Dolphins to make a trade.
We've been hitting them Miami Dolphins up a lot, Mike. The Dolphins are the new Bears. Remember the show Orange is the New Black? The Dolphins are the new Bears.
They are, and there is friction with Tyreek Hill and the coaching staff down there.
And you put Tyreek Hill on a good team. Like when he was in Kansas City, he wasn't that much of a pain in the ass. When he was winning, when he was in Miami, is when he kind of became a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
You know what? Anybody would be a pain in the ass in that organization.
Yeah, and he's still putting up really good fucking numbers. In 2023, 1 yard short of 1,800. 13 touchdowns. Last year, he had 958 yards, 6 touchdowns, 81 catches on 123 targets. He's still a very productive receiver. I would like to see him opposite DK Metcalf, but like
look at it this way. Just let me chime in 1 second.
Yeah.
If you listen, you got DK Metcalf, you got Tyreek Hill, and then you got Calvin Austin III, and you got Roman Wilson. This is turning out to be a pretty damn good team. Like I said, Tyreek Hill's kind of a dark horse here, like the article said.
Yeah.
But Mike, you start visualizing this in your head, and again, you think we are way better off than we were just a year ago.
Oh, it would be so much better off having DK Metcalf and Tyreek Hill, because you would actually have your true burner in Tyreek Hill, and then you would have your big body receiver to go across the middle with DK Metcalf, and you sprinkle in your tight ends, you sprinkle in everyone else. That would be awesome. I don't know how he would fit into the cap. He's due $27 million. That's his cap hit. I don't know. Like, he only had like a $1.8 million roster bonus, so he's due a lot of fucking money. A rework would have to work. What happened, which I think would be funny as fuck, we get him and give him more money. Cam doesn't get any more money. We brought in, all these guys and gave them raises and not Cam. I just think that would be funny. But if they can make it work cap-wise, I'm willing to run this year with Tyreek Hill out there. Let's see what happens. He's only a $15 million dead cap hit next year if you got to
Mike, we're willing to run it with Scotty Miller out there.
Exactly.
I certainly have no problem running with Tyreek Hill. Yeah. I do want to say this as well, guys, for the OBJ speculation. This was also something that happened in July this summer. He was on the Bill Maher's Random Club show in July. He had said that him and Aaron Rodgers, I'm talking about OBJ, of course, he and Aaron Rodgers have had conversations, and him being asked if he could land with the Steelers. So I'm sure that Aaron probably has these little conversations with all of his buddies around the league. But again, Mike, OBJ, it's just interesting yesterday. The night before last, Adam Schefter comes out and says he's retiring. All of a sudden, he's available again. Now, all of a sudden, 10 to 12 days from now, this meathead up in Pittsburgh is saying that we might be just very well be landing a new wide receiver. So again, I don't know how that plays together. The timing is crazy on that. I don't want it to be OBJ, but listen, if we would add OBJ just as another set of hands at this point, I wouldn't be pissed off, because what are you going to get from OBJ in this point of his career, Mike? The guy's never really. Come on, he's never really lived up to what he should have been and what we were told he was going to be, and then the injuries and this and that. I'm not crazy about the OBJ idea, but the fact, Mike, there are these other wide receivers names, these other people that do not have teams right now. Your Amari Coopers, your everybody we've talked about over the past couple of months, of course, Mike. So I'm excited, just like everybody else is, to hear this news yesterday. And it was something that was said about a week and a half ago. And I think we just mentioned it earlier in this week, as we said, you know what, maybe they're not going to do anything. We haven't heard anything since the comment being made about the wide receiver 2 position, but it comes back up again yesterday. Again, Kaboli says, Mike, within the next 10 to 12 days, we could see a move for a big name wide receiver.
I hope it. I hope it happens, because you add more weapons, add better players. I'm all for it. I think the most logical would be Amari Cooper. He's a free agent. You don't have to you don't have to move any assets to get him. Now, to get like Tyreek Hill, I don't think you're going to keep Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson. I think they would want one of those guys back in a trade. Yeah. They would want something back. They would probably want like a decent draft pick too to get it to get him back. So I think that takes him off the books. Odell Beckham, I think that's a non-starter for the Steelers. I think that's next, move on. But
I honestly don't think with the way that we're building, I don't think OBJ would be the guy that they would go get, Mike. I just don't. He's
like, if we had like no Calvin Austin, no Roman Wilson, just a bunch of Scotty Millers, they'd be like, okay, well, we're gonna kick the tires on him. We're desperate, but like what they have, and if they can, to me, Amari Cooper makes the most sense. He's
Mike,
a good route runner on the
let me give you
outside.
this list, Mike. These are people might say, well, why would you want Tyreek Hill? The guy's been around the league. Why, some people might say Jalen Ramsey. What kind of production you going to get out of him, Mike? This is a short list of notable players entering their 10th season. Of course, Jalen Ramsey is entering his 10th season. People say, oh, he's in his 30s. Well, listen to this, Mike. Tyreek Hill is also entering his 10th season. On top of that, Derrick Henry. Would you not want Derrick Henry in your backfield? That's right. He's also entering his 10th season. Chris Jones, the Kansas City defensive lineman, Mike, entering his 10th season. Joey Bosa, the Forrest Buckner, Jared Goff. So, I mean, again, some people, they use that narrative, these guys are too old. You're bringing in these washed up players. This list of guys, Mike, I would bring anyone on this team to my team to play football. Again, the premier back in the league is Derrick Henry, and what Chris Jones does on that Kansas City defense. So again, these people saying that Jalen Ramsey, I don't buy it. I see a really good situation for this Pittsburgh Steelers football team this fall, Mike, because again, this is probably the best put together during the offseason Steeler team I've ever seen in my life. And at the end of the day, it's almost like pinch me. This is kind of almost too good to be true. We haven't played any meaningful games. We don't know the outcome yet, of course. But at this point in the game, Mike, pull out the new Madden. Let's put all the best players that you like on one team and see how this thing works.
Yeah, and like these guys are getting older, but guess what? They are actually still producing at a high level. And it's not like we're getting guys that have had major drop-offs and we're picking them up, hoping we can, get the last out of them. These guys are still producing well into their 30s at a high level. So I don't mind their age as long as you keep producing at that high level. Now, you just hope, that this isn't the year they go down, but they're showing no signs of slowing down. So I'm okay with getting those guys. And Tyreek Hill's the same way. He he went from 1,800 yards to just under 1,000 yards, but I don't think Tua only played 11 games last year. Then the quarterbacks last year on the Browns were Tyler Huntley, Skylar Thompson, and Tim Boyle. You're not putting up a lot of numbers with those guys.
Mike, I do see that there are several teams that are interested in OBJ, and I think he's going to land somewhere. But again, Mike, out of all the names that we're naming, I'm not big on OBJ. Again, it was the OBJ talk that kind of got this wheel turning again on talks of bringing in another wide receiver. So this is where I'm excited with everything going on here, Mike. So again, we're going to keep our ears open as the Steelers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do have a joint practice this afternoon. The Buccaneers were in town yesterday. They did practice here in Pittsburgh. And then Saturday night, we'll be facing off against Tampa Bay at 7 o'clock at Acrisure Stadium, guys, in the second preseason game, the home opener at the preseason, Mike, this Saturday night, 7 o'clock. Let's jump back on the board here. A lot of good messages coming in all day long. I'm going to go right here to let's go to Sticky B. What you know about Sticky B? Sticky B says maybe the NFL free agents are realizing that what you're saying, Ryan, the Steeler team is scary on paper, and that they want to get in on that thing. Which, you know what, fear of missing out, just like the stock market. You know what I mean? There's players now that see an opportunity with this Pittsburgh Steeler team that you might not have seen 2-3 years ago when you look and see a Kenny Pickett-led team, and there's still a lot of holes that need to be filled. Mike, maybe some of these free agents, some of these better players are looking now and saying, yeah, Pittsburgh is a place that I'd like to play.
Yeah, like they're showing that they're willing to try and change with the time, speed up their the way they do things and actually spend money on players that are not from the organization to try and win, where it used to be the opposite. Like we would never spend on outside free agents. And we're showing that, hey, there's a new sheriff in town. We're ready to kick some ass.
Cody says, I'm curious who you guys got. I imagine it's not Gabe Davis. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I'm going to say Gabe Davis was another name I was getting ready to bring up. Is he was talked about for the longest time as being a guy, but I think the more Amari Cooper's out there, Amari Cooper might be the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I would not have a problem with Amari Cooper, Mike. Let's take a look at what Vegas says. Vegas says Jerry Rice Cakes is still available. Cody says Tyreek Hill's hit like $50 million in cap next year, though. Tortilla says all the stars went out of Miami recently. They probably got bored of sharing all the same women.
Oh, whoa.
And you know what? That's another thing, Mike. We're human. You're working in Miami. Let's say if we had a job and we were down in Miami working, I might have a little bit more fun than I do at my job. But you're in Pittsburgh, there ain't much going on. It's a football town. It's a football culture. You see the way that the people just gravitate towards you. If you're a Steeler here in Pittsburgh, it's not like that in Miami. It's a different environment, Mike. And I do like that mindset that Jalen Ramsey and guys like this are coming in with, where it's like, we're here to play football, guys. And Jalen Ramsey is somebody that I want to get to next in this conversation, Mike. But let me grab a couple more of these messages. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to go right here. Cody says, practice with the Bucks. I feel like they're going to be watching McMillan and talking to the Bucks. That's my guess. I'm calling it now. Jalen McMillan. Because
they just draft him this year too? Yeah. Jalen McMillan, I think. Yeah.
I think so. Tortilla says 12 days to Kabuli is like 6 weeks, right? If you asked him what time he was eating, I guarantee he'd give you an exact time. What time's lunch, Kabuli? 3 o'clock. You know what I mean?
On the button, brother.
Yeah. There's no, I agree. John says, great growth with the players. Will the coaching staff grow too? Time will tell. And the offseason Fantasy Island vacation is almost over. Tortilla says, probably want to see Amika too. Vegas says, will himself to play in will himself to play in preseason game 3. I like that, Vegas. Tortilla says, if we do sign a wide receiver 2, whoever they are, they will probably fit the mold of a champion or someone who is deeply in love with the football and the process. I hope you're right, Tortilla. Vegas says, I don't want to know why B is sticky. You don't want to know why B is sticky. What you know about Sticky B? And Corey, my man, what's up, brother? He says, hey, guys, late to the party, but all I want to say is keep OBJ away from here. LOL, if we are not signing a needle mover, then it needs to be a Gabe Davis and not a 33-year-old injury-prone guy. I agree. OBJ has just been so unproductive in his career. Such a letdown. You always heard his name, but you never really seen greatness. Consistent greatness.
Yeah, consistent. Yeah, because he had a really good start to his career.
Absolutely.
Just tanked.
And they drafted Amika Mbuka this year.
That's right. McMillan was last year. My bad. I got him confused. I was looking at their roster too, and I got them both confused.
Mike, Jalen Ramsey, one of the players that you have to be excited about this year. And as I said, Mike, entering his 10th season, as is Derrick Henry. So again, if we're going to complain about Jalen Ramsey, we got to complain about Derrick Henry. Mike, that's not going to happen. These guys are still very prime players in this league. This was said by Jalen Ramsey, Mike. He said he calls the Steeler team close, and it reminds him of the atmosphere when the Rams won a Super Bowl. Again, so, these are words coming from inside the locker room, and I got to be honest, it's not just words. I think that these guys really feel that they're a really good football team, Mike.
Yeah, and when you have that belief, not just in yourself, but the guys around you, you can accomplish great things. And there's that age-old question of what comes first, winning or chemistry. Some people think winning builds chemistry. Others think building that chemistry at camp can build winning. So, it sounds like they have good chemistry amongst themselves. And hopefully, when the season starts, we're going to see that pay dividends. And we're going to see how long they stay together if they start to lose. Things are great before you hit adversity. That first, taste of adversity, how are they going to respond? That's what I want to see, how truly close they are. Because right now, it's preseason. It's easy to say we're a close-knit group. What's going to happen when, you get punched in the mouth the first time? How are you going to respond? Are you going to turn on each other or not? But, Jalen Ramsey, he's been there, done that. Darius Slay, been there, done that. These guys have been to the top of the mountain. They know what it takes. So having that type of veteran leadership, which we haven't had in a long time, we haven't had a Super Bowl winner on this team of any consequence in a long time. Yes, we had Russ last year, but I don't think he's the kind of leader that this team was looking for. And I think we got the leaders that they are looking for in Aaron Rodgers, in Darius Slay, in Jalen Ramsey, guys that are not afraid to tell you the good and the bad.
And they're going to say that Russell Wilson and Justin Fields did get to run into one another, Mike. They were having their joint practice with the two New York squads, the Jets and the Giants. And I did see the video yesterday. The two guys got back together, were able to talk a little bit. It was kind of cool just because they were here. Otherwise, I would have never cared one way or the other. But the two of them did get the BS a little bit. Let's grab a couple more of these messages, Mike. Cody says they have Mbuka Evans and Godwin. Mbuka, Evans, And Godwin.
I wish Godwin didn't get hurt and actually entered free agency because I would love Pittsburgh to have signed him.
Sticky P says, turn them lights out and I'll show you.
Turn the lights down and turn on the music, baby.
Corey says, didn't OBJ say that about the Ravens too? And they still haven't. Yeah, no, he did. But that's
them, not us.
From where we were a year ago, guys, and remember, we were 10-3 after 13 games. So, again, just being able to build the team to get you over that next hump and to beat the teams that we generally couldn't beat over the past 5-10 years. We're going to get a chance to play Buffalo. We're going to get our shot at the Detroit Lions. We're going to get the Chargers, guys. So, again, it's going to be a fun season. There's not going to be a game, Mike, that I'm not excited about. John says the Steelers don't have the fountain of youth water in the Gatorade coolers. OBJ is not the answer. I couldn't agree more. Again, I think just the talk of him, Mike, gaining interest, piqued people's interest back in the wide receiver talk. Yeah. And then you start thinking of, the realistic possibilities, and you're thinking of Amari Cooper, you're thinking these guys. So I think that's kind of what re-sparked it. But I don't think he fits in at all, and I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. ends up here in Pittsburgh this year. I don't. Mike, he's been very inconsistent, what we said earlier.
And then injury prone and
inconsistent. You don't want them to. Yeah. It's not a winning combination.
Yeah, for me, the two are Gabe Davis and Amari Cooper.
Yes.
Just because they're free agents, you don't have to give up anything to get them. I have a feeling this can be one of those two.
Tortilla says OBJ isn't the answer, but it wouldn't hurt if it's cheap. I'd rather have Cooper or even just throw Ben Skoranek out there, but OBJ is a champion and could help. He had such a top heavy front part of his career, and it sizzled like big time to now where nobody wants the guy. As we said early on in his career, like, it was a great start. Obviously with the Giants, and as the career started the first 2 or 3 seasons. Then once injury started happening, and then his consistency went away. I don't really feel that he's a great receiver. When he was in Baltimore briefly, you expected to see something like it. It was minimal. The work that he did there, the production he had there was all minimal. I just don't really see OBJ making all that much sense. But Amari Cooper is a name that's came up over and over and over. So has Gabe Davis. And way in the back of people's head, which people thought probably was never going to happen, would be Tyreek Hill. But again, Omar Khan is making the impossible happen here in Pittsburgh, doing a lot of things that people never would have expected happening in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, like I'm still not rolling out. I know it's far-fetched. It's not going to happen. But in the back of my mind, like, if anyone could do it, it'd be Omar Khan getting, Scary Terry.
Scary Terry. I mean,
that would be
that's best case scenario.
That's best case. That would definitely put us over the top. That would make us a legit Super Bowl contender.
Let me ask you this, guys, on the board, real quick, Mike. I just want to ask the board. Put up on the board. Do you guys feel that adding a Scary Terry McLaurin from Washington? Let me ask you on the board, guys. Throw up your answers or your opinions. If we add Scary Terry to this offense, does this team become a Super Bowl contender? I'm not saying a Super Bowl favorite. I'm not saying this team's going to dominate from top to bottom. I'm not saying any of that. Does this team become a Super Bowl contender if you add Scary Terry to this offense? Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I forget what I was going to say.
All right.
I give it like 1% chance of Scary Terry coming here.
Yeah, it's still a chance, right?
Hey, chance is chance.
Cody says, "What about Chris Olave? Didn't Khan hit up the Saints? They did. What was his deal, Mike? There was something. He
has had the concussion issues last year.
Yeah, he
didn't play a whole lot. I think he had 2 concussions.
Let's see. Cody says JPJ picked him off, then called him an old man.
I remember that. That shit was great.
Corey says we already have an injury-prone wide receiver room. Why add another injury-prone guy that's going to put us back in the situation that we in December and January? Signing an older vet who's known to get injured makes no sense. I think the next couple of comments are about the adding Scary Terry. Mike John says only if the handcuffs come off both sides of the ball. I definitely they got to be more creative on both sides of the ball, and there's little signs that those things are going to happen. Mike, again, the Arthur Smith offense, it seems like it takes on its own form, and then also on the defensive side of the ball, you have a whole different personnel. Yeah. So again, Mike, maybe Tomlin is just more confident with the group of guys. I hope that's the case, but you're right. They got to be able to move water around. They got to be able to give you different looks. They got to be more creative in a sense to where some of these teams are doing these things where we just been dragging our feet. If we do, who knows? Who knows? But Sticky B says absolutely. He says absolutely we become a Super Bowl contender, Mike, if we do add Scary Terry to this team. Tortilla says, I don't know if we have room for a wide receiver too. DK Roman, Calvin Austin III, Skoranek, Scotty Miller. I guess we'd cut Miller, but I want to see more of Scotty. Last year he'd make a great play, then never see him again.
How is everyone sleeping on Old Man Woods?
You know what? Yeah, Woods is Woods is a name that you certainly don't hear a lot. Like Corey Beaver says, we will become a Super Bowl favorite in the media for sure because it's the new narrative for them, and then get to sit here and talk about how shady they are, but contenders for sure. Corey Beaver saying yes, they're going to be contenders. Mike Tortilla saying, guess it depends. If we go into the season with 5 or 6 wide receivers, usually we go with 5 unless one gets hurt. And Cody says, do you think McLaurin and DK would fight over who gets the ball? You know what? And makes a bad decision. I mean, it's possible, right? But again, if you come into a team that feels really like there's really momentum and success is something that's achievable. Again, DK was with Seattle. The team hasn't really, I mean, they've been fair, right? I mean, the Seahawks are a good, fair team every year. And so I think in Washington, yes, they came off the NFC Championship, but Washington is generally not a great organization. Mike, you come to a team where you're seeing they're building, they're bringing in other big name players. Maybe you could hold your shit back for a season to see how well you can play. But it also kind of falls back to what you're saying, like once shit hits the fan and things start not going the way you want.
Yeah.
Well, is that when you're going to start to see the personalities come out of these guys?
The crack, because you can when things are going well, you can keep everything locked in.
You're right.
As soon as things start going bad, all the stuff you've been holding back, it's easier to just that thought comes in and just let it out. Not even think about the consequences and repercussions. You just let it fly. Trust me, I know. I'm that guy. I get pissed. I let it sit there and fester and fester and fester. Then you let it out, and
that's because you look like Uncle Fester.
Well, fuck yeah, hell yeah, brother. One sexy bald bastard to another, me and Uncle Fester. But no, like it's easy when things go well.
Absolutely, Mike. And before I do move off of Jalen Ramsey, he did to say that this team reminds him of the Rams team that won the Super Bowl. He also did make the statement the other day where he says he welcomes matchups like Jamar Chase.
I like it,
Mike. I like that a lot for a couple reasons. Because even once he does match up with Jamar Chase in these matchups that he's looking forward to, we still have Joey Porter Jr. We still have Darius Slay. You know what I'm saying? If you usually put your best guy on their best guy, there's a lot of gray area. But we have another guy that could cover a team's one, and we have another guy that could cover a team's one. So again, you gotta it's almost a pinch me kind of situation.
Yeah.
Without a game being played again, I just want to keep throwing that out there. But again, Mike, these are really good situations on things that we have to just find reasons to bitch now because this football team is put together. It's a good football team, Mike. And again, I've never seen a team in Pittsburgh be put together in this fashion, and I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Like you said, since you and I have been watching football, this is like the most balanced we've seen on both sides of the ball. I think maybe the 2008 Super Bowl run, maybe might have the most balance because he had Ben coming into his prime at that time, but even then though too, like the skill position players weren't, oh my God, you're drooling all over them from top to bottom, but. Yeah, I think this team might be it. Might be the most balanced. And, if everything goes right, there's, the defense is a top 5 defense. If the offense could be a top 10 offense, this team could be a top 5 team in the NFL. I'm going by that Fox Sports ranking by that one guy at Fox Sports that has us the number 6 team in the NFL. I'm going by that, baby.
Whether you believe we're the number 6 team in the NFL,
I don't play.
I don't think that we're not number 20 anymore. No, I don't think that we're number 16 anymore. I think that enough work was put into this team that would certainly put us in the top 10. But Mike, let me tell you what that idiot Colin Cowherd said. This is his AFC playoff field for 2025. You got to sit down, guys.
Yeah, shit. I know it's coming from
Division winners. He has Buffalo. Okay, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
no-brainer. The Broncos in the AFC West, which I think is interesting. But I tell you what, I think that AFC West becomes a lot more competitive this year, Mike.
It's gonna be a
with the
dogfight.
Broncos, with the Chargers, the Raiders, and then the Chiefs, of course, Mike. So he got the Broncos, he got the Bills, he has the Ravens winning the NFC North, he has the Texans winning the South, Mike. So it's the Bills, Ravens, Texans, Broncos, according to Coward from the division winners, and then the wild cards. These are Colin Coward's that jackass. What his wild card teams are, Mike: the New England Patriots, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Which I could get the Chiefs because if somebody else does win that division, chances are they would be the wild card. But Mike, the Patriots, the Patriots
are the talking head Cinderella this year. Everyone's ready to put Drake May, elevate him to like a top 10 player. Everyone's salivating over that defense, but like their wide receiver core, I don't think is that good. And I'm coming around on Drake May. I wasn't a big fan of him. I thought he was too cocky, and that would like cost him in the NFL, but it's not. He looked good, but I'm not ready to put that team there. But they do have I think they have a pretty easy schedule.
Mike, I put again, let me give you the rundown. So Colin Coward, the Bills, the Ravens, the Texans, the Broncos winning the divisions, wild cards, Patriots, Bengals, Chiefs. Mike, how much of this seems accurate to you and how much of it does not?
I can see the Broncos winning the West. I don't think
I think the West is a 3 playoff team. I think they get 3
I think so too. And I think the Raiders can get into that mix too. It all depends on how devastating that O-line injury is to the Chargers. The South, I don't think the Texans are going to win it. Like their offensive line is fucking dog shit.
They got problems.
Dog shit.
That's just a bad division though, Mike. I mean, can they win it by
it's going to be either them or Jacksonville, and I think Jacksonville might do
the
something.
Colts, Mike, aren't the Colts a team that gets a decent amount of wins every year? They're never
their
good.
Quarterback.
They got a bad quarterback situation. I'll give you that.
Terrible quarterback situation.
But who was their quarterbacks leading up to this year? They've been beating us every time we played them. It seems like we played.
Know.
So again, I just think that's such a bad division. Like you get your one team out of that division. I say you get 3 teams out of the AFC West. I'm liking Kansas City. I'm liking the Chargers, and I'm liking Denver out of the West. Mike, the Steelers, the Ravens are, of course, the 2 teams from our division. The Bengals, Coward throws in here, and I don't think anybody besides Buffalo gets in the division from the East.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, who would it be? The Jets, the Dolphins?
The Dolphins on paper have the potential to do it, but Tua can never stay healthy.
You know what's at the top of that paper that's going to tell me they don't do it? The word Miami Dolphins. That's what tells me on paper that they're not going to be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
They're the Dolphins.
Like Cincinnati, they might have the best offense in the NFL,
and the worst defense,
and the worst defense. And teams were able to hold them to under 20 points a couple times last year. We held them to 19. We lost that game, but we still held that high-powered offense to 19 points with putting Corey Trice that's with Corey Trice covering Jamar Chase the entire game.
That's what I'm saying. Like we beat them the first time around. We didn't have half of these guys. We didn't have half the secondary that we have now. So I think that's certainly a difference this year. Let's jump back on the board with Tortilla. Tortilla says, I thought Rodgers was going to click with Woods since they're old.
Got the AARP.
Yeah, if anything, they could talk about that. Let's see. Tortilla also says, man, I forgot what it's like to feel comfortable with our DBs. Haven't felt this good about our defense since 2019. This had potential, guys. It really does have potential to be a great defense. Cody says, if you think about it, if this will be a great situation for a rookie quarterback to come into next year. Also, Colin Coward. Absolutely. I agree with that.
Winner right there.
Absolutely. Double winner on that one, Mike. But we said this all along that they could build this team and then grab that franchise quarterback out of the draft. And it works together.
A la Ben.
Absolutely.
Like you see that, they were building and building up until Ben came along, thought we can pull something off with Tommy Maddox, realized he was what he was. And that team needed a quarterback who can go out and make plays. And we got it because, the Browns fucked up and didn't take Ben, Hopefully that happens again this year. The Browns pass on a cat that's going to be good and we get him.
Sticky B, what you know about Sticky B? Sticky B says, I'd rather have the Steelers schedule get tested all year. That way, when they make the playoffs, we know how they stack up against good. Absolutely. Absolutely. Throughout this course of this year, guys, we have to beat a Buffalo. We have to beat a Detroit. We have to beat, we have to show that sign that we are an improved team, because that was the wall. That's the hurdle that we're at, Mike. We were 10-3. Then we run into a handful of those teams and we lose them all last year. That's the hurdle we have to jump over next to move in the right direction, obviously. So those games, the Buffaloes, the Detroits, the Chargers, the Baltimore games, those games are going to be huge this year to see if the Steelers, in fact, made that necessary moves to get to where we need to be. Again, we knew where we were at. We were good enough to be 10-3. We were good enough to beat the teams that we should have beat. We won we won half of our division games, but it came down to the Philadelphias, the Kansas Cities, the Baltimores at the end of the season in that abbreviated little playoff run, I always called it, and we failed miserably. So, those games are so important this year, Mike, to see if we're capable of winning those games, because that's the same kind of run that you're going to have in January. Those are the same kind of teams you're going to be facing off against when the games really matter. So, I agree with you, Sticky. I like the way the schedule plays out. You get the Packers in there. You get the Vikings in there. So, there's some good football teams, Mike, and we're going to get an opportunity to see them all. John said Stroud looked great in his first year. Then the tape caught up with them. May still has a lot to prove. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I think that this New England talk is it's early bullshit. It's too early. It's too young for them still. They're not, as a team, Mike, they're not ready to be that team.
No, and they could be that team that's so young and dumb they don't know they're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But Stephon Diggs is not what he once was. Does Demario Douglas and Kyle Williams scare you as wide receivers? No.
They don't scare me as anything.
Exactly. Now, Trayvon Henderson, their running back, he scares me.
Isn't he a rookie?
He's a rookie, but
I think he's scared of a rookie.
I think he can be an impactful rookie running back, but no one else on that team scares me.
Because he was on a national championship team. Was that why?
No. Just his style of play.
Wait a minute. Our running back was supposed to be really good too, and we haven't seen much from him. Again, I refuse to be afraid of a rookie. Is what I'm saying. The guy hasn't played a down in the league yet. So again, I don't know if I'm going to put that much stock into Henderson up there in New England. But come on, is this team? It's example what I'm saying. They're just too young. It's just too early for the New England Patriots. Give these guys a couple seasons, and they might be back in it.
They might be, but right now, nothing really scares me on that team.
Nothing at all, actually. If New England comes out and beats us, I'll be very surprised this year. And that would be something that happens to a Pittsburgh Steelers team. We could be looking really good, and then we'll take a loss to New England or something like that.
They got Robert Spillane.
They do got Robert Spillane, baby. Tortilla says this: Stroud had all his all-pro or his wide receivers go down too. I think he'll be better this year if his O-line doesn't get him killed.
I think his O-line's going to get him killed.
That's his problem. Houston's Achilles heel is that offensive line.
It's so god awful, and they refuse to spend money on it. They totally, in 2 years, they have an entire new offensive line. It is ridiculous. Corey's
saying, how awesome would it be if we played Green Bay in the Super Bowl this year and won this time? It just, guys, doesn't it just have a feel to this season? I mean, if we would, with all the Aaron Rodgers storylines and all the connections around the league and the Jets and the Packers with him, and this year it has a feel, Mike. If there was going to be a season where someone rides off in the sunset, aren't the Steelers kind of putting themselves in the position to be that kind of team this year?
They are.
It isn't like we have a bad team and you throw Aaron Rodgers in and you're hoping that he walks off in the sunset. This is, they're given an opportunity here.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be a Super Bowl team, but I think we're a team that can do some damage.
What separates us from any other Super Bowl team right now, Mike? What is the one thing that makes you say that? Because I think we are a Super Bowl contender right now.
I would say just because Aaron Rodgers, his past couple of years have not been – his last year in Green Bay was not that good. Year with the Jets wasn't that good. The loss of injury. So he's no longer in that upper echelon of quarterback play. So I think that right there, most of your Super Bowl contenders have top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, and Rodgers top 15, top 16 quarterback in that range. Is that going to be enough? Do we have enough to overcome those guys that are entering their prime or in their prime, where we have someone who's riding off into the sunset? Does he still have enough left in the tank to match those guys?
I mean, again, Mike, you've beat it into my head. 3,000 yards. How many touchdowns?
Like
28.
28.
I mean,
Yeah.
Mike, we were 10-3 with quarterbacks that couldn't get
I
anywhere
know.
near that.
Yeah.
So even at this point, Mike, I think it's such an improvement what we have under center
Yeah.
than anything that we've had. Again, we were sitting at 10-3, and then we did a whole bunch of other work to get over the hump, Mike. So again, this is why I'm saying that we are a contender at this point, Mike. And again, if we add an Amari Cooper here in the next 10 to 12 days, or anybody of this nature, I'd say you have to start leaning toward the way of this team being a contender at this point, Mike, in August at least.
Yeah, I would think so. And like right now, everyone's like, all the talking heads are just saying, like, they're scratching their heads. They can't figure out what Pittsburgh is doing or why we're doing what we're doing. They need a total rebuild. It's like they forget like how this team is being built through, for the past couple of years now. Of that was our rebuild. That was us tanking. Scraping by with
That's
Kenny
right,
Pickett
baby. 9-8. 9-8 is our
8-8, 9-8. That's our scratching by and us rebuilding, and they did a pretty good rebuild on the fly. You get a nice, not any real flashy draft picks, but solid draft picks that could come in and play at a high level, and we've been able to do that. And now, if we can get our past couple first round picks to play at an extremely high level, this team could take a big jump.
I'm going to grab a couple messages, Mike, and we got some different areas to go into today. We got a little Cam Hayward talk, a little bit Mike Tomlin, and a little bit about our quarterback. Guys, we'll get into that in just 1 second. Corey Beaver says Vrabel was not a good head coach either. He had a one solid season as a head coach. The Titans fired him. He's not taking any New England anywhere. You know what? I'm so Mike Vrabel, Mike. Listen, everybody always tells me how great Artie Smith was his coordinator, but the head coach was bad for these 3 seasons. I don't know what to think, guys, because people keep trying to beat it into my head about Artie Smith this and that, and Vrabel was so bad, but yet those two guys together put together a pretty good situation in Tennessee when they were there. So I don't know. Do I think that Mike Vrabel is going to take this team and make them a top team, a contender this year? And as far as Colin Cowherd saying in the playoff field, I don't think that that's going to be the case. I think that New England's going to get buried this year because, Mike, again, the AFC West is so strong with 3 different teams that can make the playoffs. Our division is a division that could put 3 teams in the playoffs. The South sucks. But again, Mike, that East, I don't think there's enough spots in the playoff tree for a team like New England this year. They're still young. They're still too early. Will they get it together? Yes, they have a good organization. They've had a good organization for a long time. They will get it together. I just think it's too early right now for the Patriots.
I think so too. But that's the team du jour this offseason. I think everyone wants them to come back because they're New England. And absolutely. A lot of people were big New England fans in the media.
Tortilla says fullback dive to win the Super Bowl. I'll take it. Connor Hayward.
While Cam Hayward's sitting on the sidelines boo-booing about his contract.
I got a question about him, guys. Don't go away. I have a question about him in just a minute. John says Bengals scored 33 points, 38 points, 34 points, 38 points last season and still lost those 4 games. That defense is atrocious. And they did lose some key players, Mike. And I don't know, did Trey Hendrickson even get anything figured out, or is he still?
He came back.
Is he back? Okay.
He's back. I don't know if he has his contract. I know he's back in camp.
He's disgruntled.
But I would then you got your star rookie trying to kill your quarterback.
Yeah, that was great. So I mean, it's Cincy shit. Again, these aren't teams you could take serious too long, Mike. These orange teams from Ohio, I just never had in my life. And you know what? I've been pretty accurate my whole entire life with not giving these guys the credit that they think they deserve. John says the coaching staff, the O-line, and Rodgers' ability are the 3 issues. 2 of the 3 can be fixed. The team must help Rodgers, not rely on him to carry the team. Absolutely. Everybody, all these guys have to come to play football. All the players they brought in, they have to come to play football. That's the way that you get the best results from this. Corey says the last AFC contender didn't have a top defense until the second half of the year, and offense wasn't even top 10. And the media rode their dick all year. We actually have a team that will rival Buffalo. Just saying. I agree. I think this Buffalo game is going to be huge this season. I think it's going to tell a story of our team. And I'm going to be honest, guys. I think that we're better off, Mike. We have a better shot at beating Buffalo than we had over the past 5 years. I say
think
easily.
So too. Yeah.
Cody says, like 2 years ago, we lost back-to-back against the Cardinals and the Patriots. Those trap games, Mike, that Patriots game is going to be a trap game. Again, this will be a team that we lose. I don't know why. I don't know how. It just happens that way. The football gods, they love to see New England beat us. I don't understand.
Especially at New England.
Come on. And that's
I think the last time we beat them at New England, Matt Castle was their starting quarterback.
I think so, and I think we won the Super Bowl that year as well.
I think so, too.
Tortilla says that John Arthur has a plan, play action.
Hell yeah, brother.
Well, the play action guys, I'll get into that in just a second as well, because one particular player, Mike, is starting to get poo-pooed on, if you will, here in Pittsburgh by the media a little bit. Somebody that we had high hopes in, but let me just get a second to finish these up. Cody says these orange teams in Ohio, I'm using that. And then Tortilla says Rodgers is pretty nice at play action, though, on paper. He should be good in the system we see, though, too. Mike, the player I'm talking about is Caleb Johnson. There's concern early on. That he's kind of off to a slow start. Do what you want with that. But again, you see the guys through early. You see them through camp. You see them in, are you getting the idea that he's going to be able to hold up the weight in the same way that Jalen was able to do the Najee early on in his career? Because that's kind of what we were depending on from this backfield, Mike. We were depending on Caleb Johnson kind of being able to come in and be somewhat productive. Yeah,
we were. We had high hopes on him. Hopefully he can, because they're going to need him, because that 1-2 punch that they have that we've
it's kind of a big part of this whole thing.
Yeah, we like to have a 1-2 punch, and he's the guy potentially that they want to groom to take over next year to be the one and get a number 2, because I think this is going to be his last year. I think some team's going to pay Jalen Warren some good money if he has a good year. So yeah, he needs to step it up, and I think for him in his development, like they're throwing a lot at him in training camp. Hey, we want you to be an NFL back.
Like, before you work on your sentence, can you let me finish one thing? Say one thing. Some of the things, Mike, that the receiving the ball out of the backfield, the blocking, just being a football player, shouldn't this kind of not come natural? But I know you've ran the ball all your life, but at some point you had to pick up the trait of learning how to put your body in between you and the guy behind you that has the ball. Why are these guys having so much trouble taking the leap from college to pro, learning the blocking? Why is it that much of a problem for some of these young guys?
They're not asked to do it a whole lot. It like they said about Caleb Johnson, he has the want to do it. He just wasn't asked to do a lot of pass blocking at Iowa. He was the offense. We're going to run the ball, maybe pass it.
But they're not saying it at halftime. Okay, Caleb, you did a great job running. Let's go do rocket science. They're saying block a guy. That's what I'm saying.
It's a technique thing.
It's a skill, no two ways about it.
Yeah,
but is this not something that you should be able to figure out as a football player? Again, you've always had people blocking in front of you your whole entire life. If you're a running back, there should be something to that, to where you could again. These guys are coming off so slow into the pros, and the level is so different. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I understand that there's such a gap between the NFL and college. It boggles my mind sometimes. Like, again, the blocking is basically putting your body in between a person and another person, and don't let the guy get the guy. I think we've all played that game on the playground as a kid.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm just trying to figure out why the development comes so long sometimes to learn how to block a guy.
Yeah, like you said, that it's something you should know how to do. But if you're not asked to do it, not asked to hone and work on that skill, and you're just throwing a shoulder into a guy, that might work at college, and it ain't going to work in the pros all the time. So you got to refine it and work on it. And he has been. I think they're throwing a lot at him, see what he can absorb. What do we have to work on more? And then we're going to scale some of that stuff, responsibilities back, let him focus on just running. We have Jalen Warren, Gainwell for the other stuff, and then keep working on that stuff on the side in practice, not make it that his full focal point. Or in training camp, you're throwing everything at everyone to get a sense of where everyone's at. What do we need to work on throughout the year with these guys? What do we want to focus on their training? But And then we can set that up while we get them ready for the game themselves. Like, hey, here's your main focus, but on the sides and practices, you're going to work on these drills while other guys are doing these drills that we know you're good at.
Mike, what was this? This report surfaced from the final day of camp. Of course, the Steelers left yesterday. They wrapped up. They got out in the morning yesterday, Mike. But this story, it surfaced from the final day of camp. Aaron Rodgers had a heated moment and shared words with Caleb Johnson. What is this about?
Yeah, I saw that too, and there was like real no explanation of what happened other than they had words. What was said? What happened? There was really, it was just, they saw them exchanging words with each other.
Mike, you think this
don't
is a
know.
Non-issue?
I think it might be. This is sports. This is football. You you get yelled at by your leaders. Shit happens. Now if it starts happening every single practice, every single game, where they're having to take this cat aside and yell at them, yeah. But now I think this is like looking for something bad to talk about because the negative sells. So no, they're like, hey, here's Aaron Rodgers, with a coaching moment with Caleb Johnson. No, it's Aaron Rodgers has a heated exchange with Caleb Johnson. So these guys are the highest at the high level. The expectations are high, and tempers are going to flare every once in a while.
All right, let's get back on the board. Cody says can't get too many Dolphins on this team. They can't play in the snow. Yeah, that's
why Jalen Ramsey bought a Ram.
That's what he did buy a Ram. He sold his Rolls Royce, got a Ram. He became a real Yinzer, I guess. John says Tier 1 teams play differently in the postseason than the regular season. Stud coaches save the good stuff for the big you're right, 100%. You are absolutely right. There's a different gear that the good teams have that they turn into, Mike, just like the Penguins. Remember back when they won the first cup back in 2009?
Yeah.
Remember how fast them and the Red Wings came out on that ice and moved in the Stanley Cup Finals? That was a different gear. The good teams do that. They know how to step it up and look superior to everybody else when it comes down to it, Mike. So we have to see if we have those kind of gears. Corey says KJ played one preseason game. I'm not hearing that. He's a rookie and shaking off the NFL jitters. He's going to be fine. That's the idea, right? I mean, we brought him here, and he's going to be a big part of this offense, Mike. And again, you send your starting running back down the road. That tells me that you're putting a lot into this guy right here, Mike.
Yeah, and don't forget, Jamar Chase looked like a complete bust his first preseason. So,
Donald Lurie, what's up, man? Welcome back to the show. Great seeing you on the board. Donald says, if I'm not mistaken, we haven't beat the Patriots since Tom Brady left. That sounds right, Mike. We tend to lose to them every time we get them on the schedule. Donald, I can't remember beating them certainly in between now and when Tom Brady left. I could be wrong, but that sounds really accurate to me. Tortilla says, I think he'll be fine. If he has 2 more bad preseason games, then I think it would be fair to be concerned, but 1 preseason game isn't enough for me to know how much. I just wonder how much of this take comes from camp as well. I mean, obviously, we all seen the minimal amount of work that he did have. Mike, he had carries, I guess you could say. Didn't look fantastic, but I wonder how much of this is also coming from things seen at camp. I know early on it was good, but that kind of went away.
Yeah, like I did. Yeah, like it was like he was looking good, and here he is hitting holes, but then nothing negative. And then after one preseason game, now he's being screamed at by his quarterback.
Cody says maybe it has something to do with college quarterbacks only snapping out a shotgun. Possibly, it is a different beast. That's what a lot of people forget. John says taking Johnson and being asked to block with no college experience was a risk. Not a bad point. You bring a guy, that never had a block, and now you want him blocking to kind of be a big part of your plan. That's,
when you have Jaylen Warren, who's highly regarded as one of the best blocking backs, you're able to take that risk and, develop that trait with him.
I hope you're right. John says a little Rodgers ass chewing isn't a bad thing. He wants to be protected so he can throw the ball. I'm glad he is holding his court. Absolutely. And that's one thing that's we got to be able to keep him off the ground. The more that guy gets hit this season after throws, things like this, these offensive linemen need to step up and stand up for their quarterback because, again, Mike, what he has up here is really valuable. Yeah. What he has out here might be 42 years old, but what he brings to the game up here is very valuable. And I think he gives us the best opportunity to win with what we have in our quarterback room. We're seeing good things from Mason. We're seeing good things from Skyler. But at the end of the day, Mike, what he has up here is the most valuable thing, I believe, for this football team and our quarterback room. So we got to keep this guy off the ground and, stick up for your quarterback. Go old school that way. Grow in the league, but still stick up for your guys and, be a tight team.
Yeah.
Tight teams are not a bad thing.
No,
Corey says, what's important to take note of is that AR's record against the Patriots, that's what's going to carry the most weight as far as Giamatra is concerned. I love that Giamatra.
You too with that Giamatra.
Yeah, he's going to get me in trouble, this Corey. Guys, a few more things we're going to get into here. Let me just grab Tortilla real quick. Johnson had his welcome to the NFL game, hopefully, and saw how fast and technical the NFL is. Hopefully he adjusts and comes out running. I think he's going to be fine. I really do, guys. There's nothing that really points to this being a bad draft pick yet. So let's take it in stride. Let's see what we get from the guy. Again, early on, all good talk. He goes, 8 for 20 or whatever it was in that preseason game, Mike, and now the talk is starting to go the opposite way. But again, give the guy some time. Let's see what he could do. A couple other things I do want to get into, Mike. Let me ask you guys this. With Cam Hayward, with his situation, let's say he's not playing in week 1. Let's say they're playing in New York. Deep inside, does Cam Hayward want the defense to fail?
Yes.
Does he want the defensive line to fail? Does he want the team not to be able to stop the run? Is he going to be on the sideline in his head rooting against the Steelers defense?
Yes. Yeah. So he can go and run to the media and go, see, this is why they should pay me. I would have been out there. This not would have happened if I was out there. This team doesn't value me. They thought they can get away playing these guys, and now my price is going up. And Cam Hayward's all about Cam Hayward, buddy. He will be rooting for this team to lose.
Now, I don't think he'll okay.
Not outwardly.
No, not outwardly.
He will be giddy.
And the second part of this question, Mike, if this kind of goes down this way, and I think they're going to get Cam back on the field by the opening week. The Steelers, they don't play around a lot of the times. They get shit taken care of. But my other part of the question, Mike, is Cam willing to lose the goodwill that he's built in Pittsburgh, Mike, in the how many ever years he's been here? Mike, he come a long way in a sense of he's won the Walter Payton Award. He's always been the guy to be the good guy. Is Cam Hayward willing to lose that goodwill that he's been building his whole entire career with this situation? Again, I think it gets fixed, Mike. I think both sides are pretty I think it gets fixed. But what happens if Cam Hayward turns into the villain after going his whole career in Pittsburgh of being the good guy?
Well, he posted the thing on it. Was it on Instagram? Like, you live long enough to see yourself be the hero, turn into the villain. So I think he's ready to turn into the villain. He's okay with being the bad guy.
Is this like John Cena finally becoming a heel after all these years? I mean, people aren't going to know how to handle this, Mike.
No, but there's still a huge segment of Steeler Nation and Steeler media. I think all of Steeler media is on Cam Hayward's side here, and there's still a huge number of Steeler fans that drink the Cam Hayward Kool-Aid that he is this great player and he deserves everything. And Cam Hayward, I think he has his media set for that he consumes, filtered and set to where he hears the good about him. No negative opinions about Cam. It's just all good for Cam, and everything is roses in Cam Hayward's narcissistic life.
Interesting. That's interesting, Mike.
Yeah. I'm going to say deep down inside, I think Cam Hayward thinks he's better than Mean Joe Green.
I don't even think Cam Hayward's a Hall of Famer at this point, Mike.
No, I think he's borderline. Longevity in his
what
stats.
Has he done to be a Hall of Famer? Like the best of the best? If he's a Hall of Famer and Hines Ward isn't, that's insane to me.
Yeah.
Cam Hayward,
Super Bowl MVP, 10 sacks as a DN in
all the records, the receiving records as a Steeler.
Yeah.
I mean, everything, Mike. Come on, one guy is qualified. The other guy, give me 5 reasons why this guy is qualified to be a Hall of Famer. I couldn't give you half of that.
No, me either. He
was a very solid, very good. He was an all-pro, Mike. Again, Hall of Famer, I don't think he's even close.
No, I don't either. And I think he benefited playing from next to TJ Watt.
Absolutely.
People want to say TJ Watt benefits from playing against Cam Hayward. TJ Watt's the one getting doubled and triple teamed.
Mike, let me circle around to the beginning. What I came out today with is this season, Mike, this team put together by Omar Khan and company this offseason, Mike, does this put more pressure on head coach Mike Tomlin? Again, you still don't hear the end of the conversation about whenever Mike Tomlin had Ben, Bell, and Brown, this team wasn't able to get anything done. Mike, what is the narrative about Mike Tomlin if this team falls short than what we even expect? Let's say we're expecting at least a playoff win. Let's say we get the same results last year. We get into the playoffs and we lose in the first round. What does that do to Mike Tomlin as far as the narrative goes with everything that we just did to make this team better?
Oh, yeah. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of people turn on Tomlin. Like, if they don't have a good showing this year. I'm not saying they have to go to the AFC Championship game or win a Super Bowl, but they have to have a damn good showing. You know, no string of bad losses. Every team's going to have a bad loss that comes out of nowhere. That's the nature of the NFL. But you can't string 2-3 losses in a row together where you were in first place. Now all of a sudden you're in third place looking up. How am I going to get past this? You have to, bare minimum, you have to win whatever round of the playoffs you're in for your first round, be it the wild card or if you somehow fluke into getting the bye, you have to win that game. And then when you go to the next game, it has to be a close game. You can't get your ass kicked.
Because at this point, what else do you do? What else are you going to give this coaching staff? And I'm not just going to put the blame on Tom. I'm going to say coaching staff. What else would you have to give this coaching staff, Mike, to be the team that actually is the team that we want here in Pittsburgh and that we're going to see on the football field? Because this, I mean, again, you're kind of throwing it all out there. If this ends out flopping or becoming a fail for Tomlin and company, Mike, I think it makes that narrative even more crazy. And then, again, at that point, maybe people will stop ignoring the 500 record, which is highly impressive. Don't get me wrong. The fact that nobody else has done this during this period of time, that's something to be accomplished. No two ways about it. But again, at the end of the day, we want Super Bowls. We want championships, Mike. So, again, I think that this is very interesting. I don't think he's going to lose his job at the end of this year. But I think that this is going to turn a lot of opinions on the man as a coach. If he gets all this work done for him and they get the exact same place they got last year, Mike, then people are going to start talking differently about the guy.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, pressure is on him big time, and it rightfully so. It should be. This is the best team we've had in a long time. The best complete team on both sides of the ball. And, pressure's on him. More. Pressure, I think, there's pressure, but not as much on the guys that we gave contract extensions to, like TJ Watt and potentially Cam Hayward getting more money. Like, pressure's on them too, but Tomlin is the coach, so he has the most. But those guys have some pressure as well, and it's going to be interesting to see how everyone responds to the sky high expectations.
And how can you build a team? I mean, really, with what's out there, the guys really went out and got big name pieces and. Again, if you're trying to put this team together, Mike, I mean, could you really have done much better with what they did this offseason?
No,
This may be the best secondary in my lifetime watching the Steelers, Mike. I got to be honest, I am the secondary. I'm most excited about watching.
Me too. And like, back to Tomlin real quick, like, he has made good playoff runs with good players before, so he's shown that he can get talented teams there. But can he get them back over the hump? And we've seen him take teams that have less talent, like the past couple of years, eking into the playoffs. Now you have a team that's vastly superior to last year's team and any team we've had post-Ben. So you should be going further in the playoffs. You should be doing better in the regular season.
Mike, I think that they should have been doing better the last 8 seasons whenever even let's just say before this quarterback carousel, even with the Ben-led teams, it was the end of his career. He wasn't doing great, but at the end of the day, we're in the same position that we are with Aaron Rodgers. You haven't passed his prime, all pro, Hall of Fame quarterback, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. So again, Mike, we're kind of in the same position in just certain areas. We've had good teams with good things in place, and it just once we got to a certain point of Tomlin's run here. things kind of fell apart. I don't have an answer for you. You get different opinions from different people on that. But Mike, I think this is a big season for Mike Tomlin as a coach to see what he could do with all this stuff given to him. Again, I don't know if there's much more that you could have done this offseason to improve this football team.
No, and it turned out that they were smart not to go chase Sam Darnold and give him the big money, because now we were able to flush out the roster, and we were taking a chance with Aaron Rodgers, but he ain't running this Arthur Smith offense where if it's going to be quick hitters and get the run game going and have a defense that's going to be dominant but not have to put everything on their shoulders, this team should be so much better than last year. So much better. And the pressure's on everyone.
We do got to get back on the board, Mike. Corey says, I don't think Cam has ever led the team in tackles, sacks, pressures, no game-winning plays, no Super Bowl rings. What makes him different than Bud Dupree? I don't hate Cam, but let's be real. That's where I'm at, Corey. This guy is not a Hall of Famer. He's not a Hall of Famer. I mean, think of who Hall of Famers are. They're guys who make a difference every week in, week out. And if they don't, you're like, what happened to that guy today? Cam Hayward is not that's not Cam's career anywhere close, Mike, in my opinion.
I don't think either. Like, I think he's been really good in his career, but where Aaron Donald, he would always put himself
right.
Me and
Aaron Donald. A Hall of Famer.
Aaron Donald won multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards. It was arguably the best defensive player of this generation, as a D tackle. He's leaps and bounds better than Cam Hayward. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad we had Cam on some of these teams because he was good.
No,
but you watch him in the playoffs, though he disappears, and that's where you build on. When you have that opportunity,
be an argument that you're going to have within the next 10 years, is people are going to be arguing that he's a Hall of Famer as he does wrap up his career, and I don't see it happening.
I don't.
You don't put Hines Ward. You don't put James Harrison in the Hall of Fame. Mike, Cam Hayward don't belong in the same conversation. Let's move on, though, Mike. We do have to.
I was going to say real quick with Cam, I applaud the longevity of his career and still being productive. You can't take that away from him. That's fucking remarkable. But I don't think that just automatically makes you a Hall of Famer because you played so long. You're there. I just don't see it.
Corey says we have to win 12 games or the fans will call Tomlin's job again. Even then, it will take a playoff win, which I think that should be something that are very obtainable. I think 12 wins for this team and a playoff win certainly should be something that we should expect. Again, it's going to take a lot to get to that point and a lot of hard work to do it, but I don't think that that's out of our reach. Excuse me, guys. John says Rooney won't get rid of Tomlin no matter what. Dr. Nova, welcome to the show. Great seeing Dr. Nova on the board. Welcome. Dr. Nova says, even being a Cam Hayward fan, no, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. As we speak, he's got to win some postseason games and probably even a Super Bowl, especially considering how many Steelers there are. Absolutely. I agree with you, Doc.
It's like the Steeler bias when these guys are up. There's so many. They're like, oh, well, you can't add any more because you have so many in there.
Sticky B, what you know about Sticky B? Sticky B says Tomlin needs to beat the teams we should be beating and not losing to 2-win teams. I know. You're right. Ultimately, how many times do you see Andy Reid's teams losing to a 2-win team? They beat the teams they're supposed to beat. That's a trait. That's a trait of teams that get it done. That is another huge knock against him. He was always lost to horrible teams way too often. John says, after beating a tier 1 team in the playoffs, not just a luck win against a 7th round seed, that is success to me. Okay. He also says Aaron Donald. I brought him up yesterday. Tortilla says, if we 1 seed and lose divisional round, do we still call for Tomlin's job?
I think so.
I think we're going to be, and if we're not hoisting the Lombardi in February, I think we're going to be.
Everyone's going to call for everyone's job.
Cody says Tomlin just said the same people that played last week will play this week. Same people that were out will stay out. No update on the injuries. That's interesting. And Kenneth says, yes, sir. At Vanilla Thunder, we have rebuilt for 3 years now. Guys, also some things going on, like the scoop going around the rumor mill that the Steelers will be signing. It looks like they'll be signing another wide receiver in the next 10 to 12 days. That is something we'll certainly be keeping our eyes closely on as these next 10 to 12 days play out, or in Kabuli time the next 3 weeks. So, which, Mike, that takes you right till the Jets game, which is 3 weeks and 3 days away. So
yeah, like,
I'm gonna
it takes you like the week of.
You got to be able to translate Kabuli time.
Exactly.
So we are going to keep an eye on that. Again, the Buccaneers did practice in Pittsburgh yesterday. They do have a joint practice with the Steelers today at Acrisure Stadium. No fans will be allowed in the stadium. But, Mike, the Steelers do face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Saturday night at 7 o'clock in their second preseason game of the year at home before heading to Carolina to wrap up preseason next week. Then there'll be an off week, and then they get ready for the Jets after that. So 3 weeks in about 3 days, guys. It's going to be here before you know it. We waited all off season, and I know we made it this far, and it went pretty quick for us. So we got all kind of things, Mike, that's going on again. The 10 to 12 days. That timeline is going to be etched in my brain because you know how I am with my timelines. And
if it does not hit perfectly on your timeline, Mr. Constantly Late,
I turn into
freak out.
I turn into an insane asylum.
You do.
So that, Mike, we're going to keep it in a close eye on that.
Yeah.
Also, some news outside of the Steelers, but in the division, Shedeur Sanders injured his oblique at practice yesterday, Mike. But one good thing about the Browns was this: 2.2 million people tuned in to see Shedeur Sanders, which is the most in over 10 years on NFL Network in their preseason game last week to get a look at the young rookie, Deion Sanders' son, of course, Mike. 2.2 million, the most on an NFL Network preseason game in over 10 years.
That's insane, and it shows what kind of a draw he is. He might be a 5th-round pick, bottom of the roster quarterback, but people want to see. Sports is all about the spectacle.
Absolutely. We won't keep you around too much longer. I do know that Tallman is talking this afternoon,
yeah,
Mike.
So right now,
yeah. So let me. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the website?
The2dumbyinzers.com. Everyone, well, if you're new here, you don't know about it, so check it out. The2dumbyinzers.com. All of Ryan and I's social media links are over there. Got our dumb thoughts over there. We got the merch store over there, so check it out at the2dumbyinzers.com. And remember, listen.
And that's a sharp shirt right there.
That is a sharp shirt.
Go check it out, everybody. www.the2dumbyinzers.com. That's www.the2dumbyinzers.com. Lots of cool things over there. Mike does do a lot of work over there. Just go check it out. Guys, it's time to hit the trivia of the day. Mike, this is no different than any other day. This is going to be how well do you know your enemy? And our enemy this week is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Guys, here we go. Mike, put on your thinking cap. Everybody on the board, everybody at home, here is the question of the day. Mike, of course, yesterday we talked about how bad Tampa Bay started out as a franchise and about the amount of wins they had against the Steelers. Keep those thoughts in mind as we do go into today's question. Here it is. How many games did it take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get their first franchise win? Mike, he said they were rough. We knew they were rough to start out there back in 1976. They were a new team in 76. How many games did it take them to accomplish their first win in the NFL? It's unless you know the answer, it's a guess. So guys, do your best to make a guess. Throw your answer up on the screen on the board if you get a chance. Mike, take a minute to think it over. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day, right here on YouTube. All right, guys. So again, I'm looking for a number of games it took the Tampa Bay Buccaneers initially to get their first win as an expansion team back in 1976, Mike. We learned the other day that they've only beat the Steelers twice since 1976. But how many games did it take them to get their first win as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the old pumpkin orange uniforms? 6 to 7 games is what Tortilla's saying. Mike, what's your thought process? Cody's saying 10.
They were. I don't think they won a game their initial year. I could be mistaken, but I think they went winless, and it carried over into next year. I'm going to go with 20.
20. Corey's saying 2 seasons. Cody's saying 10 games. Tortilla's saying 6 to 7. Corey's saying I think they were winless for 2 seasons. What did you say, Mike? What was your?
I said 20.
20, and is that your final answer?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to lock Mike in on 20. 20 games is what Mike's saying that it took the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win their first game as a franchise. I got 2 seasons Corey has on the board. I got 10 by Cody, 6, 7 by Tortilla. Guys, one more time. How many games did it take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get their first franchise win? I'll give you a clue. It's not really a helpful clue, but the win was a 33-14 victory over the Saints, who were another historically terrible team. Certainly at that point, Mike not winning many games. Mike says 20 games. Some different answers on the board, guys. How many games did it take the Buccaneers to get their first franchise win? The answer is 27.
Wow.
27 games. They were monumentally bad. The joke of the league, again, with them orange pumpkin uniforms. And that's what made the uniforms even more pathetic, was they were so pathetic.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? You got a team that's terrible and they're wearing these ugly uniforms. If they were good, it might have been different, Mike. But 27 games in December of 1977, they finally get their first win, Mike. They were an expansion team in 1976. So there you go. They beat the Saints 33-14, 27 losses in a row.
That's insane.
Again, guys, the Steelers back at it Saturday. Tampa Bay is already in town. They practiced here yesterday. They are having a joint practice this afternoon, guys. So they're here. They're in town. You may even see Baker Mayfield walking around downtown, or who else? Mike Kalijah Kancey might be over on the North Shore.
That's right. I forgot about Kancey.
So
another pick player that I like that never comes to the Steelers.
Yeah, ain't that
like we get Connor Hayward, who
And if he did come to the Steelers, Mike, I'm sure he would win the home run derby as well at camp, because for some reason Pitt players only win the
we get Pitt players or kids of Pitt alumni that come here. It's some bullshit.
Let me grab a couple of these messages, Mike, before we start to get ready to wrap things up for the day, because I do know that right here, Corey says, I don't trust anything Kaboli says. He's constantly off for misdirecting news. He's just a hot take reporter, in my opinion. Yeah. Cody says, oh my God, it was on national TV. Haha, get that gold man a jacket. Cam, I'm thinking on that comment, Mike.
F Cam.
Corey, yeah, go ahead.
Nah, I got nothing.
Corey says, I think a lot of people watched Sanders fail. The rest were Colorado and Browns fans, 1.5 million hater and 500,000 fans.
Still a lot of fans.
That is a lot of fans for a Cleveland Brown game, no matter which way you slice it. But they love their football. I don't know how they don't all blow their brains out up there. It's insane. Of all the bad things, they're the Pirates. But fortunately, we have the Steelers to make the Pirates irrelevant. What do they have outside of the Browns? Nothing. So it's a mistake by the lake. That never changes. Let's see, Sticky B. What do you know about Sticky B? Sticky B says yet the Bucs still have more rings than how many teams, right? Let's see, like being a Browns fan, Cody said, and then John says with the gay Buccaneer on their helmets. Guys, so we ain't going to keep you around too much longer. I do know that Tallman is speaking in the 1 o'clock hour. We're going to let you take off here, guys, to go see what's going on. We're going to do the same thing on our end, but we'll be back tomorrow at our regular time to go into the weekend, Mike, getting ready to go into preseason. I do know it's going to be kind of somewhat abbreviated, maybe about an hour show tomorrow, because Mike is starting a vacation this weekend. And I got to be honest, Mike takes more vacations than the president of the United States, this guy. But he has something going on this weekend where he does have to leave town. So tomorrow will be about an hour. So we'll catch everybody then tomorrow to get ready going into the weekend, getting ready for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Pittsburgh Steelers Saturday night. We'll get as much scoop as we can on all these topics, Mike, on the receiver rumors, everything that we can find. And we'll be back tomorrow at our regular time to do it again, heading into preseason game weekend number 2. Mike, again, today, joint practice between the Steelers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going on this afternoon. In the less interesting news, the Pirates, they lose again 12-5. Mike, that was a total of 33-6 they lost in the series to the Brewers this week. The Pirates fall to 51-71. They have a series starting against the Cubs at Wrigley starting tomorrow through the weekend. They're all 220 starts all through the weekend. Mike, anything before we do wrap it up for the day, brother?
Mason Rudolph will be getting the start. Tallman said Jalen Ramsey is going to guard every team's number 1 receiver, no matter how competitive everyone else in that room wants to be. Jalen Ramsey is the guy.
All right, I like it. Also, guys, I do want to throw this out there. The second depth chart was released this morning. I was going to read it on the air, but you know what? It's the same exact thing as the first depth chart. A couple guys might have moved between second and third, fourth, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, if you could get a chance, look that up and see if you could spot the differences. I was going to do it, Mike. I just didn't want to waste the time because it's basically the same as the first team's, the first time around the depth chart. So that was released this morning. The more it changes, the more we cut guys. When we get down to 53, we'll get more into that. But again, I just want to throw that out there that the second depth chart was released today. If you want to look that over, Cody did say they put brown paper bags on there. They did put the brown paper bags on their heads. And of course, John, thank you as well.
Thank you, John.
But we will be back tomorrow again. As I said, it won't be as long. It's going to be an abbreviated show, probably about an hour. But Mike does got to get off on vacation. Whatever, again, the most vacation guy I know, actually.
I'd take 8 vacations a year if you'd let me.
But so there you go, guys. We do want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out and checking us out today. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do this without you guys. Thank you so much, as always. I want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting here on the show. And I do want to say thank you to everybody at home, maybe in your car, maybe at the gym with your earbuds on, or maybe just watching on your TV at home. Thank you as well. You guys are amazing, and we appreciate each and every one of you. We truly do. Mike, anything?
No, man. Good show, everyone. See you tomorrow.
All right, guys. If you haven't had a chance yet, go check out any of our social media pages. We're on Facebook. We're on X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, even TikTok. Swing by and hit the follow button, and you can keep up with us on a day-to-day basis. Other than that, if you haven't had a chance, hit the like, the subscribe, and the share button down below. That helps us out a lot, and we appreciate it greatly. Again, we'll be back at our regular time tomorrow. We're going to find out what Mike's saying, what Coach Tomlin's saying right now. We're going to keep on top of this wide receiver rumor and get as much information as we can to talk about tomorrow on the show. So we hope to see everybody back tomorrow. Everybody have a great Thursday. Mike, I don't think preseason games start till tomorrow night, so no preseason games tonight. So we'll be back tomorrow to talk about all that stuff, guys. Everyone have a great Thursday. Stay safe. Guys, get excited because I think this is going to be a big football season for our Steelers. We'll be back tomorrow at our regular time to talk about it and much, much more. For Mike in the Steelers Central Mobile Studio, for myself, the two dumb Yinzers, everybody have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.